The new school year for most is exactly a week away. Are you ready? That question isn't only for students. Parents, it most definitely goes for you too. Hello and welcome to another edition of Jamaica Magazine, the program that's produced to inform, entertain, and educate. Today's show is all about preparing for back to school. But before we delve into that area, get some water conservation tips, followed by a roundup of stories from our news desk. Stay with us.
Some water with you, please.
Water gone.
But me need water for cook. So how me go wash?
Let's weather the drought. Start conservation measures today. Check for leaks around your house. Opt for shorter showers over long baths. Reuse water to water plants and lawn. Watch the amount of water you and your family use. Try cooking methods that don't require much water. And if you have a vehicle, avoid washing it regularly. Remember, water is as important as the air we breathe. So conserve our water, conserve our life.
Good day, I'm Tamara McHale and this is your GIS News for Monday, August 25. The Jamaica Urban Transit Company, JUTC, says the timing of its fare increase is linked to a number of services that will be rolling out next month. Among them is a technology application that will enable persons to access scheduling information on their cell phones. The company's service standards will also be published in the national newspapers on August 31.
We'll tell you every route, how many buses are on it, and what is the frequency and the headways on every single route. So you should be able to hold JUTC to a standard.
JUTC's managing director says a global positioning system GPS locator will also be installed on every unit.
If you know what bus your child is on, we'll be able to tell you and put it on the screen and show you where your child is. So we are ramping up our technology in a very serious way.
As of September 1, passengers will only be able to access the benefit of a concession fare by the use of a smarter card. And the bus company will be launching a substantial marketing program to make information available to the public. JUTC's new fares took effect on Sunday, August 24. Adults now pay $120 while children and the disabled pay $30. And the original increase of $60 for senior citizens has been reduced to $40. Water Minister Robert Pickersgill has given an assurance that measures are being implemented to ensure schools have sufficient water to accommodate the start of the new academic year. In a statement this weekend, Minister Pickersgill said the National Water Commission was already providing black tanks to some corporate area schools that were experiencing water supply challenges and did not have storage capacity. He is, however, urging all schools to establish additional facilities for storage. In the meantime, Prime Minister Portia Simpson-Miller has instructed the Ministries of Water, Education, Health, Agriculture and Local Government to meet and devise a comprehensive response to the situation. The most recent information from the Meteorological Service is for continued below rainfall levels in the southern parishes of St. Elizabeth, Manchester, Clarendon, St. Catherine, Kingston and St. Andrew, as well as the northeastern parishes of St. Mary, Portland and St. Thomas, which are experiencing severe to extreme drought. Meanwhile, the Education Ministry says all electricity bill balances for schools have now been cleared with the Jamaica Public Service Company. Chief Education Officer Dr. Grace McLean was speaking at a GIS think tank last Wednesday.
We are proud to say that the Ministry of Education has cleared all the arrears, over $101 million. We have also paid all the electricity bills for all the schools up to the end of July, over $45 million, and so all schools now have a clean slate as of the end of July.
He said the ministry's permanent secretary Elaine Foster Allen had written to all the schools concerning their electricity usage over the past 6 months. A cap will be placed on usage based on their needs, which is to be monitored, and the ministry will provide support for energy conservation initiatives in the schools. Government is confident it will meet the targets for the general consumption and corporate taxes for the 2014-2015 financial year. Total tax revenues for the April to June quarter were $1.5 billion more than the $80 billion target. But GCT and corporate taxes underperformed. Finance Minister Dr. Peter Phillips explained the reason for the shortfall at a recent press briefing.
I think we have to bear in mind also that we have, over the past 6 months or so, undergone very far-reaching reforms to the structure of the tax regime that in many respects this still has to work through the system as a whole.
Since January, Tax Administration Jamaica has been implementing a number of new initiatives as part of the tax reform program. These include mandatory electronic filing of tax returns for some categories of taxpayers, as well as changes to the GCT structure for public sector organizations. And finally, the National Environment and Planning Agency NEPA has assured Alligator Pond residents that plans are being developed to address the beach erosion occurring in the area. Representatives of the agency met with the residents at the Oswald Seafood Restaurant on Friday. Director of Environmental Management and Conservation Anthony Mackenzie said interventions may include erecting artificial breakwaters.
This site, Alligator Pond, has been identified as one of those critical sites that need attention. I can say that we're in the preliminary stages.
The residents expressed gratitude to the agency for conducting the public education initiative.
Know that never come and be giving a little bit of giving some teachment on how to go about it. And I think people will now be more cautious and more be aware of what is happening.
And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Tamar McHale. Thanks for watching.
Householders, business people, school administrators, protect yourself and your children from the chikungunya virus. Be on the alert. Help control the mosquito population. Chikungunya is a virus transmitted by the Aedes aegypti mosquito, which breeds in and around your home, workplace, and school. Destroy breeding sites. Empty old tires and all other containers where water can settle. Bore holes in old cans. Cover water drums and garbage cans. Wash flower pots and vases and clean pet dishes regularly. Protect yourself from mosquito bites. Cover your body as much as possible and use mosquito repellent containing DEET. And if you're experiencing symptoms of chikungunya, a sudden high fever, headache, rash, nausea, pain, stiffness, or severe joint pains, see your doctor or go to the nearest health center.
The stories coming out of Jamaica House this past week are next.
Prime Minister sanctions Cabinet Subcommittee dealing with the treatment of persons in police custody. Grassroots programs, key to cricket development on the island. And Minister lauds Jamaica's team to the 41st Chess Olympiad in Norway. With Jamaica House Weekly, I'm Carrie-Ann Smith. Last Monday, Prime Minister Portia Simpson-Miller convened a meeting of her cabinet where she received an update from the Minister of National Security on the Mariadine incident. She was also told of the short-term measures being implemented to minimize the likelihood of a recurrence of such an incident. During the meeting, Mrs. Simpson-Miller sanctioned the formation of a cabinet subcommittee to develop a strategic response to the treatment of persons in lockups and correctional facilities. The subcommittee is to be headed by National Security Minister Peter Bunting. Minister Bunting is to also review the lockup administration policy received from the Acting Commissioner of Police. The policy contains new arrangements regarding the care and protection of persons in police custody. The document is also in keeping with the directive from Minister Bunting to the Police High Command for the immediate and comprehensive review of all procedures governing detention.
The Queen was so pleased that she told Mother Cat to bring the kittens with her on her next visit.
That was Prime Minister Portia Simpson-Miller reading to a captive audience at the 5th Annual Lime School Aid at Jam World in Portmore St. Catharines Sunday. The Prime Minister also sang and played games with some of the 50,000 patrons who turned out to benefit from the one-stop shop provided for back to school. Included in the offerings were free medical, dental and optical checks, free school supplies and haircuts, as well as discounted prices on books, uniforms and lunch boxes.
I want to pay tribute to the parents who are paying special attention and giving full support to their children. Thank you very much, and God bless you. And for those who accompany their children, the little ones, thank you for your care and for attending this function alongside your children. I am sure they feel happy that the people who take care of them are here with them today. Time, I hope that as large as this is, next year will even be bigger. And I want to ask you to continue to make your contribution to education.
Minister without portfolio with responsibility for sport, Natalie Nita Headley, has endorsed the opening of the Ruddy Williams Center for Excellence in Cricket. She says the center will act as an incubator for increasing interest in the sport and developing the talents of Jamaica's young cricketers.
Grassroots programs like these consistently make the difference. These are the incubators. This is where we develop the talent. These programs take players to the higher level. They teach them the correct techniques of bowling the ball early enough that they don't develop the bad habits like me. I can only fling, I can't bowl.
The event held last Wednesday also marked the August 18 start of the Melbourne Cricket Club's 12-day summer camp. More than 70 children between 5 and 16 years old from in and around Kingston and St. Andrew have been benefiting from the summer camp.
May this camp and this Center of Excellence produce great male and female cricketers for Jamaica and the West Indies. And may we continue to have great role models for the sporting youth of our world.
Mrs. Nita Headley also used the occasion to recognize female cricketer Stephanie Taylor, describing her as a true all-rounder.
She, along with her teammates, helped Jamaica to take home the trophy in the Regional Women's Super 50 Cricket Tournament for the 4th consecutive time, and we must give her and give them a round of applause.
Thank you for making Jamaica stand proud even in Norway. That was Minister Nita Headley's congratulatory words to the team which represented Jamaica at the recently concluded 41st World Chess Olympiad. In a note to the team, the sport minister pointed out that it represented the country's best performance ever, with 3 new international men's titles and 1 for the women. Mrs. Nita Headley said she was heartened that the country had made such strides in a non-traditional sporting discipline, adding that with preparation and discipline, our sportsmen and women could excel in any field. And Prime Minister Portia Simpson Miller took some time to meet with Honorary Consul of Belgium, Jacques Nissen, at Jamaica House Thursday. Mr. Nissen also represents the Commercial Bank of Belgium, Commerzbank Belgium. And that's it for Jamaica House Weekly. Join us next week for more of the stories coming out of the office of the Prime Minister.
Welcome to the FSC Minute. I am Nadine Newsome. Today, we continue to explore microinsurance, and my guest is Rosemary Henry, Senior Director of Insurance with the FSC. Welcome to the FSC Minute, Rosemary.
Thank you, Nadine.
Ms. Henry, what makes microinsurance different from other insurance services?
Microinsurance and the traditional insurance covers basically the same risks. What will make them different is the target market as well as the distribution channels and also the premium costs of the insurance. Currently, the distribution channels is the main driver in the cost of traditional insurance. Insurance, however, need to be both accessible and affordable to be able to reach the target market of the low-income earners, and therefore insurance companies will have to get creative about using other methods other than sales agent to be able to bring this product to the market.
So what will be required for the FSC to allow the conduct of microinsurance services in Jamaica?
The FSC is currently working with insurance companies who want to bring the product to the market now in the current legislative framework. However,
In order to be able to get the distribution channels approved and for them to be able to use other methods besides sales agents and brokers, the FSC will need to make changes to its current insurance legislation. And this we're currently working on.
I noticed that you mentioned distribution channel again. What are the changes that are expected to happen as it relates to the distribution of insurance?
Microinsurance promote the concept of accessibility. The target market must be able to easily access these products. It therefore means, as I indicated before, that the insurance companies will have to look at other ways to distribute the product besides using sales agents and brokers. They will have to make sure that the product is available in the markets that normally the low-income earners would access, such as retail shops, post office, microfinancing companies, credit unions, and we will need to make sure that the legislation can accommodate the registration of these channels.
Microinsurance sounds like a product that is really needed in our society. What is the FSC doing to ensure that this is introduced in Jamaica?
It is definitely needed, Nadine. And what the FSC has already begun to do is accommodate the sale of this product in Jamaica. And we're now currently working on making the changes to our legislation so that we can further accommodate all the changes that are required to ensure that microinsurance can go to the market at an affordable and accessible manner.
Thank you, Ms. Henry. My guest today was Rosemary Henry, Senior Director of Insurance with the FSC. For the FSC Minute, I am Nadine Newsom.
How well do you know your child? What he or she likes or dislikes? Favorite food or color? How about who their friends are? Make the time. Get to know your child. It helps to build their relationship. Makes it easy to keep them safe, and it helps their development process.
When I assumed headship of the ministry in January 2012, and within that context, responsibility for the JUTC, the entity was close to collapse. Daily outturn of buses was approximately 240 and decreasing as the lack of critically needed spare parts forced the maintenance department into the technology of cannibalizing buses to maintain a presence on the roads. As the daily runout decreased, the number of illegal operators grew, leading, not unexpectedly, to fears of a return to the chaotic situation which characterized the public transportation system prior to the establishment of the JUTC. This administration, as the one which established the JUTC, made the firm commitment that we would not go back to the pre-JUTC years. The management and board in early 2012, they pointed to the need for a fare increase as the JUTC was increasing its debt to all creditors. Despite the justified need for a fare increase then, I told them that I would not take any such request to cabinet until I could demonstrate clear evidence of improvements in the level of service, as well as a sustainable plan for improvement over the medium term. We have continuously sought to provide significant financial support, even while striving for higher levels of efficiency and customer service. This support has continued over the last 12 months, August 2013 to August 2014, to the tune of approximately $2 billion. Some of the initiatives taken, one is the major change was the introduction of the Smarter card for the primary purpose of reducing cash on the buses, as well as the proper administration and accountability of the government subsidy. There are several specific and significant examples of improvement which demonstrate that we are on the way to providing the commuters of the Kingston metropolitan region
with a modern, world-class public transportation system. 12 months ago, the JUTC was operating an average of 240 buses daily, earning average monthly revenues of 240 million and carrying approximately 4.3 million passengers per month. As of April 2014, the JUTC was dispatching 400 buses and is positioned to increase this total to just under 450 in September. This increased capacity is due to three main factors. One, an increase in the fleet by an additional 55 new buses in September 2013, a year ago, including 20 articulated buses, and a further 69 buses in July 2014. The revamping of the maintenance operations following the delivery of spare parts, the reforms which came into effect as of April this year, for which the positive results are not simply increased order to the transportation system, but also quantifiable performance statistics. There was an increase in ridership by 28% and revenue by 58% compared to the previous period. The average monthly revenue earned since April 2014 was 366 million, and the average ridership in the same period was 5.1 million. Losses have been decreased from 250 million per month to 160 million last month. Despite the achievements of the JUTC and the additional support provided by the government, the company continues to lose significant sums as revenues continue to be outpaced by expenditure. For fuel, of April to July of 2014, the cost of fuel was $685 million compared to $500 million for the same period last year, an increase of 37%. Those two periods, 62 million this year and 37 million last year, an increase of 68%. And in terms of the repairs and maintenance, this year, 405 million compared to 142 million. This reflects the changes in the cost of the spare parts because the spare parts are coming from Europe. Despite the challenging economic times, there is clear evidence that members will fully appreciate the justification of any adjustment to the fares for the JUTC. The reality is that the current fare levels are inadequate, and despite the challenges which we know any increase will pose for the traveling public, we have to face this reality. The fact is that the JUTC cannot continue on the track of seeking to run a first world service but not contributing adequately to the revenues.
You know what bus your child is on, we'll be able to tell you and put it on the screen and show you where your child is. So we are ramping up our technology in a very serious way. Next week, Sunday, 31st, the JUTC will publish our service standards in the newspaper. Big double chuck newspaper. We'll tell you every route, how many buses are on it, and what is the frequency and the headways on every single route. So you should be able to hold JUTC to a standard.
There are some last-minute things you should bear in mind to be ready for the start of the new school year.
Do you hear that? You hear that? Yes, the start of the new school year is upon us, and I'm sure parents and children are ready and raring to go. Today, we'll just go through some of the things you'll need to have a smooth and worry-free transition from the lazy days of summer to the industrious school days ahead.
at this time. The last minute things would be ensuring they have their birth certificate, immunization card, as well as a child's medical.
An important part of the process of returning to school is registration. This ensures that there is a record available to prove enrollment at a school. This also tells the school administrators the correct number of students to expect so they can properly prepare for the young learners in the upcoming academic year. Whether it's going to a new school or to a new grade at your old school, registration is filled with a host of benefits for teacher, parent, and student. The teacher will get an idea of the number of children in the class and prepare for them. The student will get to meet the form teacher as well as other classmates, and the parent will receive well-needed information about getting the child ready for school. These include a book list, instructions on how to construct the school uniform, and a medical form. A medical record is one sure way to safeguard a student's safety at school. That's why the Ministry of Education mandates that students entering primary and secondary schools undergo a medical examination. The medical form that's filled out by a doctor has well-needed information on ailments, allergies, or physical disabilities that would preclude a child from taking part in certain activities, such as physical education or a school trip to a farm that might put the child's life in danger. Filling out the medical form is a top priority. Even though some schools may have allowed the child to register without the form, until that's done, registration at the school is incomplete. So ensure that the medical examination form is filled out and returned to the school before the start of the academic year. Buying the approved texts is essential to following the school's syllabus to academic success. In the past, parents have complained that their children do not use all the books prescribed on the book list, or that they cannot pass on the books to their younger children. That is now history, as the Ministry of Education has moved to carry out a thorough reform of the book lists in government schools. So now there's a ministry-approved book list that parents can buy from to give their children the tools to academic success. So parents, be sure to check the papers or call the Ministry of Education for the approved book lists for your children. At registration, parents should have been given a drawing of what the uniform should look like, including specifications such as length, color, and style. This would have given parents time to have the uniform sewn or bought. The correct color socks, shoes, hair accessories, bag, and watch would have also been on the list of proper school attire, so be sure to revisit the list to see if you have bought the right things. Last-minute stops to the local bookstore for stationery and school supplies are now in order. And whether you're using public or private transportation to get your child to and from school, it's always a good idea to do dry runs to map out the shortest routes. So now that you've covered registration, filled out the medical examination form, followed the book list and uniform requirements, you and your child are ready for the upcoming school year.
I'm Mario Mackenzie, Robin, captain of the Calabar High Track team. And me have a message for anybody who are planning to take the tablet them, what the government give the schoolers for use in class. You never hear so them break the tablet them. That mean anywhere the tablets there, the government can shut them down. Plus GPS tracker installing of them. And even if you find a way and you go around all of that, the minute you go up on the internet, them are going to know. So here what you do. Just leave the youth them with the tablet. Give them a chance to further them education. Makes sense. Done.
And that's where we leave you from today's edition of Jamaica Magazine. We hope you're now more prepared to send your children off to school with little or no hassle. Email Jamaica Magazine at jis.gov.jm with your questions or comments. You may also click on our Twitter or Facebook pages to view information that's geared towards improving your daily life. Just tuning in, not to worry. The program is available in full on jis.gov.jm. On behalf of the entire team here at the JIS, I'm Theodore Henry. Thanks for watching.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.